So guys, Mount Vernon Kid here coming to you again. Opinion Spot week is still rolling, just a couple more days, and I'm still here to give some of the greats, the great comic cartoons from the past. And as always, let's do the roll call so far. I talked about the Incredible Hulk. I talked about Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Yesterday I talked about Season 2 of the Fantastic Four 90s series. But this time I think I'll go outside of the big heavy hitters of Marvel and DC. And for this time in the opinion spot, we're going with none other than The Tick. Yes, The Tick. Now, why The Tick? Well, because it was a fun show. And The Tick, for all those who don't know, The Tick was a comic book character first, before he was adapted to cartoon. So The Tick, the animated series, came out, debuted September 10th, 1994 on Fox Network, Fox Kids. I remember it so vividly. And it was basically an adaptation of New England comics superhero The Tick. For all those who don't know, The Tick was created by a man known as Ben England. He created him when he was about 17, still in college. The Tick was a independent comic, and what this was supposed to do was really to introduce this character to the mainstream audience. And it did that. Because for me, guys, I never knew about The Tick. I didn't know who The Tick was. I'm like, who's The Tick? And I see this guy, and here's this guy who's dressed like a tick, who's got pretty much, he's invulnerable, he's strong, he's this and that, and he's got this sidekick known as Arthur, who looks like a moth, and he protects this city known as the City, which is really funny. Now, there were some differences between the animated series and the comic series. Now, in the comics, The Tick was actually an asylum escapee. He's crazy. He escaped from asylum, but in this series he crashes. The first episode we see that he crashes a superhero convention to win protection ship of the city. And that's where he becomes the protector of the city. And it was really fun. I used to love this series. I mean, the Towson Coleman, who voiced The Tick, was funny. He perfected it so well. And his sidekick Arthur there were two actors that voiced him from the first season, and then Rob Paulson took over from the second and third season. The first actor who voiced Arthur was known as Michael Dolenz, and then, like I said, Rob Paulson took over from season 2 to 3. The thing about The Tick was, there were storylines, because the first season was about one thing. It was always The Tick versus such and such. The Tick versus such and such. That's how it always was. There was really no real big title. It was always a Tick versus somebody. And I really enjoyed the first season more than the others, but I enjoyed it as a whole. But the first season was really weird, because that was the season that really was going to showcase, could this last on TV? There were a lot of members, other superhero parodies in the city. For example, there's a character known as Deflator Mouse, and he was like a shadow, self-absorbed Batman parody, and he was pretty funny. But he was kind of a chicken too. And then you had a character known as Sewer Urchin, who was kind of like a mixture of Dustin Hoffman's Rain Man and I guess Aquaman, I guess how you can put it. And then you had American Made, who was a mixture of Captain America and Wonder Woman. And then there were other characters in there, there was a Punisher parody. He was he was really funny. Who else there was? There was a parody of the Fantastic Four. There were a lot of parodies in there, but they were done pretty well and not to really be that, not really to be like shown as, scared, or so to speak. Some of my favorite episodes, especially from the series, was I believe let me see, what was one that I really enjoyed. I think of course Chip, the Tick versus Chairface Chippendale. That was funny. It was a guy who he literally had a chair for his face, which was really funny. The first episode was always funny. The Tick versus the Idea Man. The men were funny. Tick versus Dinosaur Neil was funny. I love the episode where Tick was brainwashed by the Dr. Mental. That was really funny. And then my favorite of all time, one of my favorites, was the Tick versus the Tick, where Arthur, the Tick, the Deflator Mouse, and Super Urchin went to this bar or club where there are other superheroes, and that's where all the superheroes would hang out, while their sidekicks had to go into this shitty looking shack for there was a superhero called the Doorman, and if he would recognize if you're a sidekick by just his doorman senses would like tingle, and he'd be like, you're a sidekick, so you go in the other room. So in there, when they were introducing each other to everybody, you had the Tick. He basically said, "I'm the Tick," and everybody, uh-oh, Barry's not gonna like this. Who's Barry? He's the guy that owns this. So when he found out, Jim Cummins did the voice of the other Tick, and he's like, "Where's the jerk who calls himself the Tick? I'm that jerk." And then they had a fight, and it was really funny because the other Tick was kind of a mixture of Captain America. He had like a Tick shield that gave him like super strength and stuff like that. He looked more like a Tick than the blue Tick, the original Tick. It was really funny. I think episode 10, the Tick versus Pineapple Pocopo, was funny. Episode 12, Tick versus Proto Clown. Proto Clown was supposed to be like a parody of the Hulk, and he didn't like when anybody laughed. He was like, "Clown smash!" That was so funny to me. I used to love this show. And then after season 1, that's when we really started to get really into, the season's titles really started to not just have the Tick versus. They would have like for example, there was like episode 15 was called Alone Together and things like that. They still had some of the Tick versus in there, but it pretty much didn't last throughout the first season. It was a fun time to really get to know the Tick very much. And he became very popular, and he got the show really had a cult following, and I always thank Mr. England for creating the character. He definitely has earned the Tick has earned his place amongst one of those great comic characters that has been able to adapt from you know com- I got a one up for that. Basically able to adapt from comic to uh, to television. Now, the one other thing that I thought was really cool, it like I said, it did have a legacy, and um, there were a lot of this series really got nominated for a lot of awards. It won awards. It in March of 2008, Wizard magazine ranked it the 16 number 16 on its top 100 greatest cartoons list. In January 2009, IGN ranked it number 6 on its top 100 animated series list. And the Nostalgia Critic put the Tick on the number 5 spot in his top 11 animated nostalgic TV shows review. As for awards, the show won an Annie Award in 1995 for Best Individual Achievement for Creatives Supervision in the Field of Animation. Ben England won that, the creator of the Tick, as well as it won Best Individual Achievement for Writing in the Field of Animation. And then it was nominated for a few daytime Emmys. It never won, but it's to me it's still good to be nominated in that for outstanding animation, outstanding sound and editing, outstanding sound and mixing. There were a lot of great things about it that really, you got to give a lot of credit to, and besides, you got to remember, the Tick came out in the late 80s, the original, the comic, and around that time, what were we seeing a lot that was changing in the comic industry? We started to see a lot of, that was pretty much the year of the anti-heroes. Early 90s, people were liking the dark anti-heroes, but along comes this character known as the Tick, and it changes us to showcase. It was fun. It was just a lot of fun to talk about and to watch. I do enjoy it. The series is on DVD, all 3 seasons, and it's a blast to to have, and of course later on it was the Tick came after the 3rd season. It came to an end, and in 2000 of May, they had a pilot series for the live action series, and Fox wanted to really capitalize on the fan base, excuse me, of the Tick, and so they went live action. Now, I didn't really watch the live action series too much. I think I was more in tune with the animated series better. I'm forgetting the actor who played the Tick, but I recognize him by voice because he does a lot of voiceover acting. But like I said, for a series that ran for 3 seasons with only 36 episodes, it was a blast to watch, guys. It really was, and it takes you back to those times. Like I said, when I was watching this series, I was 12 years old. I was 12 years old when this came out. So being introduced to the Tick really, it was fun. It really helped me a lot to understand that there are other characters outside of the big heavy hitters of Marvel and DC. You know what I'm saying? And the Tick was a fantastic show. You cannot deny that, guys. And I loved it. I really did. And I think I've said enough about the Tick, this cult favorite show. You guys tell me what you thought about the show. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Or, I wasn't really a big fan of it. But one thing you will not deny, and I'm gonna end it on this, is that it did broaden your horizon of characters outside of Marvel and DC. Other than that, guys, you take care. As always, this is Mount Vernon Kid saying peace, one love, stay tuned, keep it real. I'll see you guys tomorrow with the next installment of The Opinion Spot.